From your perspective as president of PTI Tech, what shifts in U.S. defense and firearms manufacturing are most urgent, and how is PTI Tech positioning itself to lead those changes?
I think there's two major things that are happening right now. There's a push for increased performance, and with that increased performance, be it through other materials or other manufacturing methods, there's a emphasis on the speed at which that technology is getting rolled out, and of course the reliability. That technology has been proven and it is able to be scalable. If you can make a trophy part, that's one thing, but the ability to scale to high volume, because at the end of the day, we're parts makers. We want to make sure that this is something at a technology readiness level, that it's ready to be rolled out to industry, and that our clients can count on those parts showing up for their finished product to be sold to their clients.
In an industry facing volatility in materials, supply chains, and lead times, what does manufacturing resilience mean? And how does PTI Tech's in-house tooling and U.S. production model directly support that?
Resilience means that when the world's falling apart, your supply chain doesn't. As you pointed out with your question about having in-house tooling, that's a critical part of what we offer here at PTI Tech. We've got the ability to be vertically integrated, wherein the designers and the builders of the molds are here on site, so there's no transportation risk going back and forth from a tool shop. But more importantly, I think you've also got the continuity. You've got people that design the mold standing next to the molding machine as the tool is being trialed, and as troubleshooting needs to take place. Is it something on the processing side? Is it something on the tooling side? And then instead of having to put the mold onto a skid and ship it back to the mold shop that built it, we just put it on a tool cart, take it to the molder, the pole mold tool shop, and fix what they need to fix, and then bring it right back to the machine, and then we're right back at it.
We're seeing a push for lighter, stronger, and more reliable components across small arms and defense programs. Which materials or processes, whether glass-filled polymers, tungsten MIM, or high-temp plastics, do you think will define the next decade?
We've basically built our company around introducing lighter weight, higher performance materials into our clients' hands. And one of the things we do to make sure that we're doing the right job for our clients is to stay abreast of all of those materials as they come out. I mean, I'm going back to the 70s and the 80s when my dad first was working with Allied Signal. It had a new material called polycarbonate. And they knew it was good, they knew it was strong, they just didn't really know what it was going to be used for. So we were beta site for them. They were right over here in Morristown, and they would come over here and we would trial things. So being on that forefront, I think is very, very important, and getting that seat at the table, so to speak, early on is an advantage for us, because we get to really know the material, how to process it. There are a lot of nuances to processing some of these high temp materials. So if you don't process it correctly, what a lot of people don't really understand is it's not only that we put the material in the mold and we squirt it into the injection mold tool, and then you get the part out. If you don't process it correctly, you're not going to get all of the high performance properties and characteristics that you spec'd out the material for in the first place. A great example would be if you don't dry it properly, if you don't hit the right moisture level, you will not get the performance that you're looking for. Similarly, if you don't design the gate appropriately on the tool, you'll get shear. So maybe you've got a great 50% VLF, or very long fiber polymer material, but if you don't have all of those polymer fibers in the right location of the part, or they're not oriented properly, again, you haven't really done what you're supposed to do as far as using that material the way it was designed to be. So at PTI, having all of those people here that understand what's happening on a molecular level inside that mold is really critical to making sure that that material does what it's lives up to all of it that it was capable of doing. As the other part of your question about metal replacement, that's really how we started our company. Was there were as an aerospace vendor, you're always looking to cut weight, and you're always looking to cut costs. So, but you can't compromise on performance. So finding that good enough solution. A polymer or molecule of polymers is never going to be stronger than a polymer of metal, but what is that good enough solution? What is going to get the mission done? Then you're reducing costs and you're reducing weight, and those go hand in hand with aerospace. Finding that balance and offering up those solutions to customers is something I think we do pretty well.
What misconceptions do OEMs still have about injection molding or metal injection molding when designing parts? And how is PTI Tech helping customers design smarter from the start?
Relative to all the other technologies that are out there, injection molding is still relatively young. I mean, casting and forgings, those have been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years in some form. So understanding the science behind it is of course very, very, very critical to educating the customer about what it is that the material is or the technology is or is not capable of doing. I think early on in the industry, going back in the 70s when it first started to come out, I think that there was this selling of it being a panacea, and it's not. No technology is. Finding the right applications for the technology is part of the evolution of a technology going mainstream. And I think there were some earlier missteps where it was trying to be something that it was never going to be. Small parts in high volume with complex geometries, that's where injection molding, and more specifically MIM, really does shine. So educating the customer and also the dimensional tolerances on the prints. So oftentimes when we were one of the earlier movers on MIM. So when you're in the the 90s or the 2000s, and there were not a lot of people that learned about it, there certainly weren't any drawings. And our marching orders, right? Our Bible is, what does the drawing say? So we're trying to get a MIM technology, which is fundamentally different than a machined technology or machine part tolerances, trying to get those to work. So what are the critical features, or what are the dimensions that you have to have, or what are the nice to haves, and finding that balance. And when we sell them on the rate which we can make parts, the speed and the cost associated with that, that's usually a good motivator, for lack of a better word, to have them reconsider whether or not the part drawing tolerances are everything that they need it to be. And at the end of the day, again, not trying to oversell it and letting them see the benefits of what our technology can do is made possible when we get involved early on. So what we've done after that period of time where we were trying to meet the machine or the cast part drawing tolerances to where they're now starting to design for MIM, where we've been very successful as being a part of that earlier conversation. We want to have that seat at the table for design for manufacturability, or DFM principles, for when they're going to finalize their drawing and put it out for us to bid, or for their team to make parts against. So early involvement is something we always try to be a part of. It helps us help our clients engineer a better part.
For companies evaluating U.S. suppliers at SHOT Show, what should they be looking for beyond price? And how does PTI Tech differentiate itself when meeting those expectations?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because it's something that we're challenged with is based on price. To be blunt, if you're going to buy your part, or you're going to choose your supplier based on price, we're probably not the best partner for you. We don't compete on price. We compete on our technical expertise, our delivery, our quality. Those are absolute musts. It's great when we can check all three of those boxes: price, delivery, and quality. But where I think where customers get in trouble, I think that's true for anyone, is when you buy based exclusively on price. My dad used to say, do you want to, if we got pushback based on our price when we were quoting to a client, is, do you want to buy a parachute from the lowest bidder? It really comes down to what is your motivating factor, or what does success for your program look like? If you've got the reliability, the repeatability that you can build your business around, and that you can go and get your product out on the shelves, knowing it's going to perform the way that it's supposed to, I think that's what's going to let our clients, the right clients, sleep at night, knowing that they've got the right partner in PTI. And for me, so in that perspective, I want to focus. I want to know that this aspect of my program is taken care of. I can focus on those other things. So giving that comfort level to clients, I think, is incredibly important. And I think it's a testament to the fact that we've got customers for 30, 40 years that we've been supplying, because they've recognized what we bring to the table. That and also, what? I'm gonna say shit happens, and everyone's a great supplier when there's no problems. And when something goes sideways, I think that we are particularly well situated to help to resolve issues that pop up. Understanding our technology, but also having an appreciation for the system that it needs to operate in. Like, most of the people at PTI, we're all firearms guys, right? We're gun nuts. So not just knowing our piece of the puzzle, but knowing how it works within the bigger system, I think is a big part of how we're able to be successful when we're helping to understand and to diagnose and solve a problem that comes up unexpectedly. When you're buying based on price, or sometimes a vendor could cut a corner, something that could come and bite them back in the butt. Now, everything that we've got is based on aerospace certifications, so we have a dialed-in process. So if we make any kind of deviation, that deviates from that process that we know makes good parts, there is a very long process involved with doing that and getting customer sign-off. I've been in situations where customers couldn't get the right material, or a vendor rather couldn't get the right material, or there was some other thing that came up and they just made a fix thinking they weren't doing anything wrong. It would find that they would ultimately come out to burn them down the road. So that transparency, that level of communication, I think is incredibly important. And it's always been more successful when you can collaborate to come up with solutions and not try and solve it on your own, because sometimes there's unintended consequences for things like that. So I think we set ourselves apart as a true technical solution, as a partner, not just a parts maker. So as part of that analysis of if something does go sideways, if there was an issue, having on-site all of the material scientists and the manufacturing engineers to diagnose effectively what it is that went wrong, and then having tools available like finite element analysis and on-site ASTM testing, critical to really making sure that you haven't put a Band-Aid on the problem, you've actually solved it effectively long-term.
How do you see the relationship between U.S. manufacturing and national security evolving? And why is it more important than ever for companies to partner with domestic suppliers like PTI Tech?
Absolutely. That is the direction that we are going as a nation. And we take a lot of pride in the origins that we've had working exclusively for the military before starting to branch out into more commercial markets like commercial firearms. Picatinny Arsenal is up the road from us. They're one of our biggest clients. One of our early claim to fame is when the first M249 SAW, squad automatic weapon, showed up at Picatinny in 1981. I wasn't there. I was probably in middle school. My dad was there, understanding how can we improve on the ammunition packaging. So we came up with the M249 200-round linked ammunition. There we go. This is one of the first polymer gun magazines ever signed off on by the U.S. government. And then during Desert Storm and Desert Shield, we came up with this reusable version. Again, 200 rounds of Link 556 that was challenging in the physical properties that were needed to allow it to function in a number of different environments. I remember being in high school in Kuwait during Desert Storm, Desert Shield, that we had big barrels of sand. You think sand is sand, right? But there was like 5 or 6 different versions of sand, and then there were like 9 or 10 different versions of soil. And we had to put these ammunition magazines in and test them and make sure that they would function based on the pull rate of an M249. So our origins on the military side, I think, was a perfect table setting for us to start to do more on the commercial firearms markets that we support now. And customers have responded very well to all the mil specs and military standards and specifications that we were, that was part and parcel with everything that we did here as part of the basis of our quality system, which has since been expanded to AS 9100, which is for military aerospace and space. We make flight critical engine components for man-rated engines. Those types of standards and those types of quality control, having their basis in mil standards, are part of everything that we do for all of our clients here in the firearms industry. Like I said, I think it responds, it's well received, because at the end of the day, it is a lot of the shooters here. These guys are military guys, ex-military. So at the end of the day, it's the same end user that we have in mind. It's the same customer. And that mindset and understanding what the customer's needs are is critical to how we can offer the types of solutions that our clients are looking to get from us. And one other aspect to bear in mind as well is there's physical security threats. There's also cybersecurity threats as well, which are becoming more and more of an issue every day. We are CMMC compliant, so our cybersecurity system is compliant with all of the latest requirements that the U.S. government has passed down to us. It's thinned the field a lot. You can't really dabble. Either you're a military supplier and you have all these certifications in place, or you don't. And we kind of like that, because 90% of what passes through PTI on a given day winds up in the hands of the warfighter or in support of them. So those additional requirements, it's important to remember it's not just your physical security as well, but you need to be sensitive to the cybersecurity aspects of it as well. And being aware of those threats and knowing how to mitigate them quickly is very, very important.
What is one overlooked metric or quality standard that separates a good supplier from a great one in the firearms defense industry?
It's a consistency, that repeatability, that the first part coming off of the molding machine is identical to the 10,000th part that comes off the mold. That's how you build your business reliably, and that's how you ensure consistency from the supply chain that you need. And people, I mean, there was a stretch of time where people were really just, it was beat up on your vendor. It was squeeze every dollar out of them that you could. Make them hold parts in inventory and not pay them. I think that the industry has matured significantly. They recognize that it's an often overused term, partnership, but it really is. And we look for those people that value what we bring to the table. Like I said earlier, we're not the inexpensive solution. What we offer needs to be recognized for us to establish a good relationship with the right types of clients. The key to that 10,000th part coming off, as same as that first part, is process controls. And I talked about that earlier. And our origins in aerospace, those are the basis by which we've built our quality system. And it's important for us to also remember that we've got a big mission. A lot of the parts that we do, people's lives hang in the balance. When I do an onboarding for new employees, which I meet with everybody who joins us, whether you're a senior person or whether you're a machine operator, I try and do my best to let them understand the importance of what it is that we do here. And the example that I use as it relates to aircraft countermeasures, which is one of the earlier parts we did, replacing metal parts with polymer ones, is that when we do our job right, the pilots go home to their families. They really need to understand and have that connection to the product to, I think, do the best job that they can do. And we look for people that work here that have that appreciation for it. They either have family members that served, or they themselves are veterans who have served. And that culturally, I think, is really important. One of the things that helps bind us together as a company to perform at the level that we do. That appreciation for this aspect doesn't matter, or let's just get the parts out. The client wants them and all this. That's not who we are as a company. And again, to go back to the right partners understanding that. If there is a part of a firearm that has to meet certain strength requirements, and if it doesn't and it fails, and then the soldier isn't able to fire their weapon anymore, that's going to endanger them just as much as the example with the pilot. So the connection to the part and the focus on the quality, again, that 10,000th part or that 100,000th part.
If you could debunk one myth about U.S. manufacturing or the cost of domestic tooling, what would it be?
I think the biggest misconception is that U.S. tooling is too expensive. I think when you take into account the full life cycle of a mold and the critical nature it plays in your program's success or failure, the overall cost of that tool is significantly more when you go overseas. U.S.-based manufacturing, or speaking for our tool shop that's in-house, is going to cost you less overall with the lead time, not worrying about overseas time lost, air freighting things in. I mean, tariffs, that's a whole other thing. Even carving that out, the ability to iterate quicker, having the molds here in the U.S., faster repairs, and going back to what I had said earlier about having the people here that designed and built the molds on site, available at a moment's notice, is really critical for that, getting that into that stage. We do an IQ, OQ, PQ when launching new tools. Having a set process that we can count on for reliable, repeatable manufacturing of product, having them also part of that conversation is critical. You know, we're not just the mold shop, we're not just a production shop. You know, we are both of those combined, and that's what you get when you partner with PTI Tech.